Okay, so let's take this time to talk about what the best Saiyan build is going to be in Dragon Ball XenoVerse 2 for PvP. Now, this could also be a benefit in PvE as well, but for me, PvP is where it's at. You'll notice at this point that I don't have any stats in any of my slots right now for my attributes, and I have 163 available to me. Let's keep in mind that once you cap out at level 80, you'll have 332 attribute points that you can move around and put wherever you want. Now, I had gone and gathered all 7 Dragon Balls by grinding in the parallel quest number 4, Prepare for the Saiyans, or Prepare for the Attack of the Saiyans, I believe is what it is, and reset my attributes. I'm only in level like 44, 45 or so, and I'm still working towards reaching level 80 on my Saiyan character. But as I do that, I want to make sure that I'm dumping all the attribute points in the proper area. So let's talk about that for a second. Now, while we do touch base on PvE, PvP is where this conversation is going. But let's keep in mind that with a Saiyan and an Earthling, there are 2 fundamental differences there, and the main thing that's going to stand out, at least to me, is the health. Saiyans do not have a lot of health by standard. So you probably don't want to dump a lot of attribute points in there. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Mark, if Saiyans have a bunch of low health, then why wouldn't I want to just drop my attributes in there? Well, because the thing is you want to use your attribute points and boost up your strengths. Take what you're good at and run with that. There's no reason to focus and dump these valuable attribute points into something that you're going to be weak at no matter what. The jump from what you start out as and what you could possibly max out as is not going to matter in the end, especially in PvP, if you're not moving these points into ways that can help you in combat and beating up the enemy and the opponent in close quarters situations. So with health, I'm probably going to leave that at, maybe a little bit lower in 0. And I know that's crazy to think about, but with 332 points, we can take 100 and we can max out 3 categories and have 32 left over. So with health, I'm probably just going to leave that as is. Max ki, stamina, and basic attacks are where you're going to want to dump 100 each. So you're going to have 300 of your points are going to be allocated to max ki, max stamina, and basic attacks, and here's why. Mainly because what makes a Saiyan OP, I like playing as it for fun, but what makes it OP is a Super Saiyan transformation, and it burns through ki energy like crazy. So you want to make sure that you max that out as much as you possibly can. Having that should be a no-brainer, 100 across the board. Stamina is going to help you out with a lot of your evasive moves and a lot of other situations, because keeping in mind that a lot of ki blast energy, if you do that, you're going to be using a lot of stamina, but when you're up close and you're tapping and you're dodging and you're doing evasive moves to avoid incoming fire, incoming blast from your opponent, or whatever that situation looks like, you want to have enough stamina where you can teleport a little bit and try to confuse them. And obviously, if you time it just right, using the joysticks and using the L buttons and your evasive move button on your controller or on your keyboard if you're playing on PC, then you want to make sure that you have as much stamina as possible just in case you mess up, or so you can do it multiple times and confuse them. That's the best way to go. Basic attacks, that should also be a no-brainer. Regular attacks and ki blast. You're going to be doing standard ki blast moves every now and again, but punches and kicks, that's really where it's going to be coming from. Physical attacks is where you want to boost this up. Now, when it comes to the 32 left over, you have your choice here. You can break it up and try to evenly distribute between Ki Blast, Strike, and Max Health if you want. That's up to you. But you can also dump it into one of these two, Strike Supers or Ki Blast Supers. For me, I feel like Strike Supers is probably the way to go. You'll notice between Strike and Ki Blast, you have ultimate attacks and evasive skills. They're going to be the same. So when you're dumping in these extra stat points, that extra 32 that you've got, ultimate attacks and evasive skills are going to be benefiting from either Strike or Ki Blast. But the big difference here is Ki Blast Super Attacks and Melee Super Attacks. Now, for me, I really like using the Final Flash attack, which is considered an ultimate. So I'm going to benefit no matter which one that I choose from. But the thing is that you're always doing a lot of melee combo attacks, and you're always doing a lot of punching and kicking, and that's pretty much the name of the game. Unfortunately, while Saiyans do have a lot of energy blast techniques they can use, the biggest thing is their strength in punching by kicking. Now, obviously, your Saiyan build does matter as well. The height and the size of your Saiyan will have an impact on your overall playstyle in the long run. You might not even notice it, but hardcore PvP players will definitely notice this without a doubt. However, in this particular build, let's say that you want to take more of a casual approach to PvP, this is the build that I recommend to help in the long run as you start to grow and become more skilled and experienced when taking on opponents that are far superior to you in battle. Additionally, this will also help out in PvE as well. Now, granted, I mean, for me, like I said, I'm in like level 44, 45, something like that, so I don't have the max 332. I had gathered those 7 Dragon Balls, reset my points, and here we are. So let's go ahead and jump into 32. We're going to drop these into Strike Super, so we're going to go ahead and push this all the way up, and then we're going to dump the rest into basic, max, and max stamina, and max ki. So we've got that 32. We're going to go ahead and push this up all the way up to 40, and then we're going to go ahead and drop the remaining elsewhere and evenly distribute it across these stats as well. Now, again, it's up to you if you want to be a little bit more fair, if you want to distribute these in a different way. That's up to you. I don't want you to take away from this video that you should be pressured into dumping these stats into what I'm saying. There are things that I haven't considered, and if you're really good with Ki Blast attacks, then maybe you want to do Ki Blast Supers. That might be your thing. But for most people, Strike Supers is where it's going to be at, and of course, these categories are going to be the strengths of the character. Ki Blast Supers and Max Health are definitely the two that stand out to me as not being a real big big benefit with the Saiyan race. Now, again, it's up to you. If you're really good and you're skilled and you have a great sleight of hand, then, well, maybe you could make it work. But this is what you're going to dump in if you don't want to do a lot of that training in areas that otherwise aren't going to benefit you in the long run. This is the quickest and most efficient way to get the most out of your Saiyan and do the most possible damage and take them down, your opponents in PvP, as quickly as possible. Because, let's be honest, eventually you're going to get through PvE, you're going to grind and get all the gear that you want for aesthetics, you're going to do whatever you can to kind of make the most out of your character, and then you're going to get bored and you're going to want to fight your friends and fight random people in PvP, and this is the way to do it. So, we have 11 left over, so we're going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have 5 left over that we can drop in basic attack, and boom, there we are. So max ki and max stamina, and 45. So from this point forward, now that I've dropped my extra 32 in this final Strike Super section down here for the attribute points, I know that any additional points that I gather for the remaining duration from my level 44, 45, wherever I'm sitting at now, all the way grinding to level 80, I can take those attribute points and dump them in one of these 3 categories to max them out to 100. So I'd say that we're off to a pretty good start for now. I gotta say, I don't really like seeing 0 in the max health in the Ki Blast Super situation, but that's just the name of the game. Let's go ahead and just take that risk and dump everything into what we could possibly find a value in max ki, max stamina, basic attacks, and a little bit in Strike Supers. But let's go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you guys have any alternate thoughts, ideas, or feedback, be sure to let me know down in the comment section. I would love to engage you guys in conversation and find out what your thoughts are, because I've done a lot of research on this myself, and I've played around the stat points here and there from XenoVerse 1 to 2, of course, and I have other characters, other races that I've played as, and this is what I found is the most beneficial build. But if I'm wrong, let me know. Let's talk about it. I'm open for a healthy discussion to see exactly what your guys' thoughts are. And, of course, if you guys found this video beneficial, or if you like what you're seeing, or if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. It helps me out, gives me the feedback, and tells me what I'm doing right and or wrong, I guess. But regardless, thank you guys for checking out this video. Ending this here now. I will see you guys in the next Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 playthrough video. Take care, guys.